This is going to be a little bit of a nostalgia review for me, so um, yeah, let's just get at it. So, way back, long ago, in 1996, before the dark times, before the special editions, there really wasn't a whole lot of Star Wars content out there. We had Star Wars, and back then it was Star Wars. It wasn't Episode 4, it was Star Wars. It was Empire Strikes Back, not Episode 5, and Return of the Jedi, not Episode 6. Okay, that was it. We had a Droids cartoon, we had an Ewoks cartoon, and we had two Ewok adventure movies. And then in the 90s, we had a resurgence of Star Wars stuff. Timothy Zahn put out his Thrawn trilogy, and I was never really big into the expanded universe a whole lot. I did read those, they were good. But in 1996, 96 was kind of an interesting year for nerds in general. That year, there was a multimedia project done by Lucasfilm called Shadows of the Empire. I'm going to be reviewing the novel for that. However, this wasn't just a novel. There was a Nintendo 64 video game, which I owned and I played a lot. I got it for Christmas that year. This book came out in April, and there was also a Dark Horse comic book series that came out with it. There was also a trading cards that they had, and there was even action figures for this thing. This was a huge event. It was kind of a trial run for Lucas's big campaign to push the special editions, which came out in 97, and then for the Star Wars prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace, which was released in 99. So we went from like having no Star Wars to like a glut of Star Wars, and this was kind of like my last gasp of fandom. This was probably when I was at like my peak of my Star Wars love, would have been that period from 96 to 99. Of course, The Phantom Menace killed it, drove a stake right through the heart of my Star Wars love, but this was a pleasure to revisit and reread. So what this is a Star Wars novel which is set between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. Now look at this cover work. Before we get into this, this was a cover painting by Drew Struzan. Of course, he's legendary. Just look at that. It's awesome. Okay, you've got the Emperor, Vader, of course, Luke Skywalker, and this guy who's introduced in the book, this is Prince Shizor, who is the leader of a crime syndicate called the Black Sun. On the back cover, we got a swoop bike, Princess Leia, and Boba Fett. So Boba Fett is not in this a whole lot. The Dark Horse comic really featured him prominently. And the video game for the Nintendo 64 really focused around this character named Dash Rendar. So one of the things about this book is that Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie are trying to rescue Han Solo, who has been frozen in carbonite. And so Luke, of course, lost his hand at the end of, my hand, dog. He lost his hand at the end of Empire Strikes Back, so he's got his new robot hand, but he doesn't have his lightsaber. So he's got to build a new lightsaber, and he does some Jedi training. So we see a big progression in Luke Skywalker's character from The Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi. I mean, when he shows up in Return of the Jedi, he's got the black cloak on, and he's force choking Gamorrean, guards and doing the Jedi mind trick on people, and going up into Jabba's palace and just being like a straight up Jedi Knight. And you go, well, how did he get there? This is going to go into that. Now, is this really a great book? This is nostalgia talking. As a fan, I love this. This is my favorite Star Wars book. I've read the Thrawn trilogy. I've read, some of the other Star Wars novels, including the A.C. Crispin Han Solo trilogy. Han Solo trilogy was okay. some people really like it. It was all right for me. I didn't think it was anything special, but for me, this is the best. I really like this period in Star Wars history. This is when we just had the 3 movies. That's all we had. We had the 3 movies. There were no prequels, weren't any of that stuff, and this was canon, dude. This was project was canon. So let me talk a little bit about some of the characters that are introduced. So we've got Prince Xizor. Like I said, he's the leader of the Black Sun Crime Syndicate, and he's a rival of Vader. So we get to see Vader and him kind of playing chess against each other, trying to take each other out. Of course, Vader wants to capture Luke, and Xizor wants to kill him. So there's this power struggle between the two, vying to be the Emperor's right-hand man. There's a character introduced in this book called Dash Rendar, and he's kind of a Han Solo knockoff. And he's not really that interesting of a character. He's basically like Han Solo if Han Solo never matured. I picture this character as being played by Kurt Russell. If I was casting, this is a movie, if this was a movie, Kurt Russell would be Dash Rendar. That's the way I always read it. That's the way I like it. But anyways, I just wanted to put this book out here. Say, if you are a fan of the original trilogy, right, just like me, I'm kind of a purist. I don't care for Phantom Menace or any of the Disney stuff or any of that. I just like the original trilogy, the non-special editions, the Yub Nub edition. I mean, how could they get rid of that awesome song? Yub Nub, eat chop Yub Nub. A toe meat, topi chikin, gunap dak fling, oh wah. Koti chata yub nub, koti chata yawa, koti chata glowa, alleluia nub. How can you get rid of that and replace it with New Age, we so free edition? Garbage. So anyways, if you love it, I love it. It's great. By the way, the video game, it doesn't really hold up. I revisited it here about a year ago, and the controls on that are so wonky. Like the N64 game, it's cool, but it's basically unplayable unless you're a glutton for punishment. The Dark Horse comic tie-in was really cool. It focused on Boba Fett. This, like I said, was a multimedia project. So out there, you can probably find action figures and cards for this. This was kind of like the peak for me of my Star Wars love, and baby, it was all downhill from here. This was the top of the roller coaster, and then Phantom Menace just killed it, and it's never been the same. Have a wonderful day. This is in the Legends. You can probably get this as a paperback. I don't know. I think it's probably retailing on Amazon for like $8 or something. This was a good one. I'm not saying that it's like an all-time classic like Frank Herbert's Dune or anything. It's just a fun little action adventure written by Steve Perry. And no, it's not the singer from Journey. It's a different Steve Perry. But yeah, highly recommend this one, especially if you like Darth Vader. There's some really cool Vader stuff in this. And I really enjoyed this book. It's, let's see, 398 pages. All right? Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. God bless.